All right, Kurt, we're going to talk about the one that you care about the most, the Floyd of Rosedale, our last game pick. What are your keys to the game here?
Oh man, it's the weirdest. I think it's the weirdest year to predict it, in my opinion. And it's not just because it's a little earlier. It's that the Gophers are a pass first team right now, and that's just something that's taking some getting used to. The O line play for the Gophers worries me. I think both defensive units have the advantage against the opposing offense in this game, which is pretty normal for this game. Let's be honest. Caleb Johnson's a stud.
Yeah.
I think I saw he's first in the Big Ten, I think, in yards after contact and second in forced missed tackles. So that makes me think back to the UNC game where the Gophers finished with 21 missed tackles against Omar Hampton, who's a terrific back in his own right, but they're going back up against another running back of that same caliber. Now, I think the defense has made strides, but, competition hasn't been quite to what Iowa will be. And then if I were to look at this from an Iowa side, I'm kind of curious to see how much their offensive line is able to push the Gophers front, because the Gophers front has been pretty good. Even against North Carolina, it wasn't amazing, but it was still overall pretty solid. If the Gophers can force Cade to throw it, then it gets pretty interesting. So yeah, if the Gophers are going to win, I'm guessing they're going to see tight coverage just of how their offense has been, a lot of dink and dunk. I'm guessing Iowa's going to force them to beat them deep. So when the shots are there, Minnesota's going to be able to have to hit them. Iowa has given up a few long scores this year, which is kind of odd for them. So when the opportunities are there, Minnesota's going to have to hit it. And then, yeah, you're going to have to bottle up Caleb Johnson. Whoever's defense can flip the field and cause the most turnovers for their team is going to win this game.
Yeah. I the one area that I think has alarmed me about Iowa, it's actually multiple areas, but I think the maybe the most staggering one, Iowa keeps giving up big plays. Against Iowa State, they gave up a long touchdown pass. Against Troy, they gave up 2 long touchdowns. And that one was no, one I was going to say one was in garbage time, but no, they made it 24-21. So I mean, the game was still in the balance. Now Iowa dressed it up well, and it was 38-21 at the end, but that and then the special teams have not, quite honestly, have not been special. That really concerns me with Iowa, because I think if you told me that Iowa has subpar quarterback play, a really good running back, a good offensive line, and a top 5 defense, I'm saying they're going to go 10-2, 11-1. They're going to be a Big Ten contender, because they don't, like, who cares about the quarterback? I mean, they won 10 games with Cade Mack or with Deacon Hill last year as their starter at the end of the season. Who cares? All of a sudden you've got a leaky defense. Now, leaky is not the same as bad, right? Like they're really stout in the front seven.
They're great on defense again overall, but yeah, they have been giving up some different.
Yeah, and I think, to me, that maybe the difference or the key to this game is, can Brosmer hit guys like Brockington, Daniel Jackson down the field? I think Caleb Johnson is a really good back. I think their offense. So here's what I say. I think Iowa's offensive line is superior to the offensive line that they faced against UNC. I think Omarion Hampton is the better back out of the two. Which is not to say that Caleb Johnson's bad. I just think Caleb Johnson he's had a bit more of a head of steam than Hampton has had. And so that matchup still concerns me a little bit. I might say the same is true though for Iowa's facing Minnesota's defensive line. Like, I think their defensive line is the best defensive line that they'll have faced. And so I think there's a lot of interesting interplay. I didn't say it. I've been terrible at saying the time and spread. 7:30 kick on NBC. Iowa's a 2.5 point favorite. It's at Minnesota. So it's
Yep.
interesting. Vegas sees Iowa as a favorite, even as the away team. What's your score prediction here, Kurt? I'm going to put you on the hot seat.
All right. Gosh, I'm gonna go Gophers. I'm gonna be a homer. I'm gonna go Gophers, and that I really think they can win. I just think there's a lot of variables that both teams aren't super sure on at the moment. Gophers offensive line, Wally's hurt, probably not in this game. Our top corner, Cody Lindenberg, is in an arm brace, but still playing last week, so that was curious to see. Just a lot of question marks. I'm gonna go Gophers, 19-17, low scoring, field goal wins it. Floyd stays home.
You're going to be eating bacon on Sunday morning.
Yep, absolutely.
It really is scary how close we've been on so many of these games. I think Max Brosmer hits a couple of deep shots. I know that's been a tough. There's been some drops.
Yeah,
They haven't attempted it much, but they have been trying to open up the offense for Minnesota, which is encouraging to me. I think Iowa's going to have to settle for field goals. And I think Minnesota gets a game-winning field goal. And I forget the kicker's name.
Dragon Kesich.
Dragon Kesich. Redemption for Kesich.
I like it.
17-16.
Okay.
Minnesota.
Hey, I'll take that. Yeah, it should be a great game. I think you're going to learn a lot about both of these teams just because, they're obviously ticked over the Iowa State loss. We're ticked over the North Carolina loss.
Yep.
I think the defenses are both going to look really good this game. I knock on wood. I don't want to jinx because Iowa has put up points, not the last time, but every time leading up to that, they put up some points in Minnesota, like more than their season average. But obviously hope that's not the case. I think both defenses will shine and should be a great game.
Yeah. I think it'll be a really good, competitive, close. Yeah, it'll be great.